All right, at this time, I would just like to recognize some very important guests that we have with us this afternoon. Joe Castiglione, the athletics director for the University of Oklahoma. Welcome. We have President James Clements of Clemson University. Welcome. Dan Radakovich, athletics director from Clemson. Welcome. We also have Ed Stewart, the Big 12 Conference Senior Associate Commissioner for Football. Welcome. And Brad Hostetter, the Atlantic Coast Conference Senior Associate Commissioner for Internal Affairs. Welcome. Well, now this is where I'm supposed to give a brief game review analysis, and you know, a lot of people like to talk about the X's and O's and the competition, but to me, there's another angle to college football that we all love, that we love covering and we love bringing to the viewers, and it's the tremendous stories and the humanity and the unselfishness of so many of you here in the room today. I mean, I've been reading stories and looking at pictures of, you know, players that have been visiting children in hospitals or spending time with underprivileged youth or just giving back to the community. And that's all a part of college football as well. And there's, you know, unselfish guys like Reed Webster, who's played every single position on the offensive line this year for Clemson because they needed him. And there's games where he's played every single snap. And guys like Blake Bell, who sacrificed his dream of playing quarterback to help out his team as a tight end and has become a sensational tight end for the Sooners this season. So there's so much more to this game than meets the eye. It's not just the nation's best defense against a top 10 offense, a pass-rushing orange machine versus an offense that's given up a national best 8 sacks. The game features 2 freshmen All-Americans, Samaje Perine and Artavis Scott. Congratulations, guys. And 2 of the best feel-good stories in college football, I think. You've got Sterling Shepard playing for his late father's Oklahoma Sooners. And you've got Clemson's Dan Rodriguez showing us what true courage really is. So the Tigers have won 8 of their last 9. The Sooners, well, 3 of their 4 losses have come by a combined 8 points. I know how tough college football can be. A play either way, man, it can make your season. So Clemson's only allowed 1 100-yard rusher all year. But then again, they haven't met a guy named Perine yet. So now let's turn our attention to the video screens and take a look at what we can expect from the Oklahoma Sooners. Awesome. And now, in his 16th season as head coach and the winningest coach in Oklahoma history, Bob Stoops has led the Sooners to a bowl berth in each of his 16 years. Amongst those bowl berths, Stoops is the only coach in history to lead his team to victory in every BCS bowl, along with a national championship victory in 2000. Stoops has claimed 8 Big 12 titles and has coached a total of 65 NFL draft picks, 13 of which went in the first round. From Youngstown, Ohio, let's please join me in welcoming to the stage Bob Stoops. Now we're going to see what the Clemson Tigers have in store for Oklahoma as we watch their video. Through 6 seasons as head coach at Clemson, Dabo Swinney has led the Tigers to 4 top 25 finishes, along with 1 ACC championship in 2011. Swinney received the Bobby Dodd Coach of the Year award in 2011 and was once again a finalist in 2014. Congratulations on that, Coach. And coming off an emotional victory over rival South Carolina, Swinney and the 17th ranked Tigers hope to take that momentum into the Russell Athletic Bowl. From Birmingham, Alabama, please join me in welcoming Dabo Swinney. Okay, this is going to be neat because they cannot run away from me and head to the locker room. I've got you right where I want you guys. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you both. Congratulations on terrific seasons, both of you. I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit before we get into the X's and O's. We're just going to have some fun with some kind of out-of-the-box type questions, so just bear with me. What's the best or most interesting Christmas gift you got this year?
You got any?
Santa didn't come to your house?
My wife and I don't do much, as far as gifting to each other. So pretty fortunate to have a lot of things already. So don't really worry about getting anything on Christmas.
Been there, done that, right?
Yeah.
Dabo?
Well, we're kind of known as the Griswolds in the Swinney family. We decorate and we get into all that stuff. But I got a Clark Griswold T-shirt, which I proudly wore to the Magic Kingdom on Christmas Eve.
Did you really?
It's pretty cool.
That's great. I got a new pair of Mizuno running shoes. I mean, to me, that was what I wanted. Santa left under the tree. Okay, so maybe what is one of the more interesting or head-scratching things that one of your children have asked for Christmas?
You go first.
Oh man. Probably fortunately my kids don't ask for a whole lot. They like to give, but I would say that the one thing my oldest son will, this isn't this Christmas, but several Christmases ago, he wanted the copy of the 1981 Clemson National Championship game, which...
Imagine that.
Yeah, and so he literally has worn that DVD out. That's all he asked for, was that DVD, and he was probably about 10, so... That's awesome. That's it.
Did your son ask for a copy of that Clemson DVD as well?
No, mine haven't wanted to watch the 2000 National Championship, so they were there. There were only 2 at the time, so I don't think they really remember it.
That's good. You're a dog lover, I noticed.
Yes, my wife is.
You've got 4 dogs, and I think 2 or 3 of them are bigger than your children.
2 Great Danes, a Great Pyrenees, and a Pit Bull. So
that's great.
Now, people ask, surely they're outside, right? I said, well, if they were outside, I'd have to go outside to see my wife. So they're inside with us.
We're a lot alike. I'm the same way. We've got 3 in our house, and well, one of them sleeps in bed with us, which my husband was not used to before, but she was a package deal that came with me into the equation, so I don't know where your dogs sleep, but anyway.
Not in the bed.
Okay. All right. When you guys were younger, and both answer this question, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Well, for me, believe it or not, I grew up wanting to be a pediatrician. I'm not embarrassed to say, I'm from Pelham, Alabama, by the way. I'm a long way from Birmingham. I'm from a small town, and I really knew one doctor my whole life. Dr. Goldblatt was my pediatrician, and I just thought he was the coolest guy. And I went to him until I was like 25 years old.
He's still going to him.
And I went to Alabama to be a pediatrician and actually majored in biology for my first almost 3 years. And eventually just, decided I didn't want to go to 10 years of medical school, and got into the business school. And really, to be honest with you, I never really thought about coaching. I just always thought about playing. And when we won the national championship my senior year, and I was just fortunate that Gene Stallings, my head coach, said, hey, I'd like for you to stay and be a GA and get your master's degree. And that was really, at the time, I said, okay, I'll do that. I'll get a master's. But, you know, about 3 days into it, I knew that it's what I wanted to do. And I tell people that all the time, you know, I thought I knew what I wanted to do, but eventually I found my passion in what I was called to do.
That's cool. And you're making more money than your pediatrician now anyway, so great story. How about you, Bob? I know your dad was a coach. I'm sure he influenced you.
My father was a teacher and a coach, so I spent the year always in football season, in the locker room, out on the field. My brothers and I always welcome to go to practice. You know, that's all we did. And then in the winter time, he refereed at the school the basketball games and then was a scorekeeper. So, of course, in the winter, I was in the gym
the
whole
ball
time.
boy.
Exactly. In the spring, he played baseball, actually played fast pitch softball to the year he died. So I was always at a baseball game. He was the head baseball coach at the school. So each whatever season
Every
it
season.
was, I was on a field, a court, somewhere. So I then going to college, I was a business major. Senior year, you go on those interviews that they bring to campus. I interviewed with Coca-Cola and Procter & Gamble. Chuckled at myself when I left. I'm like, what am I doing? That isn't me, you know. And so I went back to my coach, Bill Brazier. Hayden Fry was our head coach. You know, I was with Barry Alvarez, Kirk Ferentz, Dan McCarney. I had the best assistant coaches, were so good to me. And I brought up how comical it was, me in this interview. And they said, you need to be a coach anyway. So they allowed me to be a graduate assistant, just like Dabo, right after I graduated. And I knew right then, this is what I need to do. I need to be around it somehow.
That's very cool. Two great stories. So what's the most fun you guys have had since you've been here in Orlando? What's the neatest thing you've done? Or maybe it's just having some downtime. I don't know. But what have you enjoyed the most so far?
Well, there hadn't been a lot of downtime, but I've enjoyed the parks. You know, I really have. I've enjoyed just hanging out with my boys. I got 3 boys, and you know, we have been able to get out and experience all that Orlando has to offer. That's been
and there's a lot to offer.
Yeah, that's been a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. And then I enjoyed going to the Give the Children the World Villages the other day. That was a pretty impactful visit.
I'd say the same thing. First, watching my family have fun, my players, seeing them the first couple of nights at the park, really having a great time. And then give the world whatever, the charity is just amazing. If I had no idea about it, from here on out, I know myself, my foundation will donate to it. Would encourage anyone that doesn't know about it to look into it. It was really a special place. I was really moved by it.
That is tremendous. Well, my husband's out in Arizona doing the Cactus Bowl, you know. He says he doesn't know what he's going to do with himself with all his downtime because I'm not there, obviously. His boys and his parents don't get there till 3 or 4 days from now. So he said he might go to the casino tonight. So you guys don't have any free time of anything maybe special you're going to do with your families or
we're getting ready to
take
play.
A nap?
Today is it's a Sunday to the rest of the
right.
world,
it's
but
tomorrow,
it's a Friday.
Isn't it? I just got here.
To us.
It's funny. That's funny. Okay. Bob, when you first heard you were playing Clemson, first uncensored thought that came into your mind?
Oh, geez, Brent's on the other side. You know, Coach Venables, I don't know if Brent's here or not, but, you know, guy that I recruited to go to Kansas State and was a young GA for us, coached there together with my brother Mike, and then we were, you know, 13 years together at Oklahoma. So when you've shared that much history with somebody, you hate to have to go against each other.
And beat each other's brains in, as he said.
Well, you just got to go at it for a few hours, that's all. Yeah.
Dabo, first thought?
Tough challenge. Really tough challenge. Tough opponent. You know, got all the respect in the world for Oklahoma. That's a program. You know, growing up in Alabama, I've always followed and admired. You know, and then the same thing. I better check on Brent. He's going to be on suicide watch here. So he wasn't very happy about it. You know, and again, it's tough. You know, he has tremendous respect for Oklahoma and just so many great relationships and fond memories of his time there. I mean, you know, 13 years is a long time. You have a lot of relationships in place. So
some of these guys he recruited.
Yeah, he recruited a lot of these guys, and you know, so and Brent's not a story guy. and he knew that all of a sudden that's going to be a story, and he just wants it to be about the game and let's go play. But that was the first thought was just, man, what a tough challenge. This is a team that just a couple of plays away from being in the college football playoff, and most people picked them. A lot of people picked them number one because of the players that they have and the type of coaching staff that they have. So huge challenge for us.
Okay, Bob, give me 2 or 3 personnel matchups that you're most interested in seeing tomorrow.
Well, they're all going to matter. Again, watching Clemson's speed, on offense, I think they've got a great skill and speed. So, being able to handle their perimeter game and route running and all, again, to handle their speed's a big issue. And then, of course, everyone's talked about, and rightfully so, the great defense. In particular, there's so many, award winners up there in the front 7 that are great players. So will we be able to, our guys be able to block and protect? And so the line of scrimmage, on both sides of the ball will be a big issue.
Dabo, how about you? Yeah,
it always comes down to the trenches. And this game in particular, if you just look at the season that both teams have had, for us offensively, to try to be able to run the football against those guys, I mean, they're really tough. They got a great scheme. They play with great toughness, physical. They know what they're doing. Very few people have run the ball effectively. And then same thing on the other side of the ball. They got a bunch of backs. I know everybody talks about P-Ron, but they got all those guys are great players. But it all starts up front. I mean, a very veteran, senior and junior offensive line. I've seen a few of those guys roaming around through the parks, and these are some big men that can move.
Almost as big as his dogs.
Yeah, so that matchup up front in the trenches is really what it comes down to. We've got to be able to stop the run, and P-Ron's a guy that the record that I guess LaDainian Tomlinson had for 20 years or however long, and it was broken by the kid in Nebraska, and it lasted for 1 week.
Yeah, it lasted a whole week.
So,
Melvin.
yeah, it's all about the trenches, and then special teams. They got probably as good a return game as we've faced.
Okay, this is your last game with your seniors, guys. So, what has your message been, or what will your message be to that group of players that you'll lead out onto the field for the last time tomorrow?
Well, much like it always is just be prepared to play your best. And these guys have worked hard, for their time here and have really, have really put in a lot of effort, through their 3, 4, 5 years, however, long they've been here. And, you always want to end the year with a win. I mean, it makes a big difference, and they'll want to go out that way. But, it's been more than anything, it's just about doing the work ahead of time, and I feel like these guys have worked hard.
Yeah, just continue to be who you are. This is a group, we're 6 years into our program, and this is the winningest senior class in school history. So these guys have won 41 games in their 4 years, and have just been a joy to be around every single day. They've helped us create the culture that we have in place and help us build the foundation. So just, be who you are. The game is still about the same things that it's always been. We don't really change that from week to week, whether it's the first game of the season or the bowl game. It always comes down to those same things and, how you play. And how you play is based on how you prepare. And so our guys have done a great job. They've brought great purpose to our practice and meetings back at Clemson and here in Orlando. And, they know that we're going to have to, bring our A game and play very well to have a chance. But we don't really focus much on the scoreboard. It really is truly just how we play the game, and if we play well, then we can live with whatever result we get.
And last question, Dabo, have you practiced and have you coached Bob here on the signature move of the hoist and twirl of the sideline reporter at the end of the game if you win?
I can't say I've worked on that one.
No, we haven't worked on that one. Yeah,
Inside joke. All right.
Vaguely remember that.
Yeah, you vaguely, I know. It was a blur. Thank you guys for joining us. And let's give them all a round of applause and wish them best of luck tomorrow.